Most people don't actually want the truth. They want comfort that sounds intelligent. They want explanations that protect their self-image. They want narratives that allow them to stay exactly where they are while feeling justified. That's why real truth is so rare. Not because it's hidden, but because it's rejected. Truth threatens identity. Comfort protects it. Most people don't fail because life is unfair. They fail because they make comfort their highest value, and then build a philosophy around defending it. Comfort decides how late they wake up, how often they quit, how long they stay distracted, how quickly they give themselves permission to stop. Comfort isn't just a feeling, it's a decision-making system. And once comfort becomes your system, your future becomes predictable. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. Rich and poor don't live in different realities. They don't have different emotions. They don't wake up with different levels of fear or doubt. They feel the same resistance, the same tiredness, the same anxiety. The difference is not what they feel, it's what they obey. Poor thinking obeys emotion. Rich thinking obeys standards. Poor thinking wakes up and immediately asks, "How do I feel today?" Rich thinking asks, "What must be done whether I feel like it or not?" That single difference compounds over years into completely different lives. Most people wake up already behind, not because they are late, but because they surrender control before the day even starts. Phone first, noise first, stimulation first. They don't enter the day, they react to it. Their attention is hijacked, their mood is externally controlled, and then they wonder why they feel scattered and powerless. A life lived in reaction mode can never feel stable. Rich thinking understands something brutal. If you don't control your morning, you don't control your life. Poor thinking treats mornings casually. Rich thinking treats them strategically. Most people wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel motivated. They wait for clarity. But readiness is a myth invented by fear. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It's a byproduct of it. Clarity doesn't come before movement. It comes after repetition. Waiting doesn't protect you. It delays you. Poor thinking negotiates with itself constantly. Just today. Just this once. I'll start tomorrow. Rich thinking doesn't negotiate. It executes. It understands that discipline collapses the need for motivation. You don't need inspiration if you have a system. You don't need confidence if you have a routine. Systems replace emotion, and emotion is unreliable. Most people avoid boredom like it's a threat. They need stimulation to survive the day. Silence feels uncomfortable because silence forces self-awareness, and self-awareness exposes wasted time. That's why scrolling is addictive. It numbs reflection. It delays accountability. It fills the space where uncomfortable questions would exist. Rich thinking understands that boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the price of progress. Repetition is boring. Discipline is boring. Consistency is boring. That's why it works. If success felt exciting every day, everyone would have it. The dullness filters people out. Poor thinking consumes to escape discomfort. Rich thinking invests to remove discomfort long term. Poor thinking wants relief now. Rich thinking tolerates tension now to buy freedom later. One chooses comfort, the other chooses leverage. Here's where people get offended. Most people aren't tired because they work too hard. They're tired because they live without structure. Disorganization drains energy faster than effort. Mental chaos feels exhausting. Rich thinking doesn't complain about being tired. It redesigns systems. Poor thinking complains and calls it self-awareness. People love to rename avoidance to protect their ego. They call it self-care. They call it rest. They call it protecting their energy. Most of the time, it's just fear with better marketing. Real rest restores you and sends you back into effort. Avoidance keeps you stuck and calls it healing. Most people don't hate discipline because it's hard. They hate it because it exposes how undisciplined they are. Discipline removes excuses, removes stories, removes emotional loopholes. It forces you to face patterns instead of circumstances. Poor thinking personalizes struggle. Why does this always happen to me? Rich thinking normalizes struggle. Of course this is hard. What did I expect? One turns pain into identity. The other turns pain into data. Everyone has problems. Everyone feels pressure. Everyone gets tired. But only some people build an identity around it. Poor thinking bonds over struggle. Rich thinking bonds over growth. Poor thinking seeks validation. Rich thinking seeks results. Here's the truth that ends all debate. Most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because they repeat weak habits daily and expect a strong life in return. That expectation is delusion. Life doesn't reward intention. It rewards behavior. Comfort today steals freedom tomorrow. Discipline today buys options later. You don't get both. There is no balance. There is only trade-off. Either you choose discomfort now, or regret later chooses you. Most people want the reward without repetition, results without boredom, change without identity shift. But identity only changes through behavior repeated long enough to become normal. You don't become disciplined by understanding discipline. You become disciplined by acting discipline when you don't feel like it. Growth is invisible before it's undeniable. Seeds grow underground. No applause, no feedback, no validation. Most people quit in that phase. Then they call it realism. But realism is often just fear wearing intelligence. This isn't motivation. Motivation fades. This is exposure. Exposure to habits. Exposure to patterns. Exposure to quiet choices that shape your future more than any big decision ever will. Most people will stop listening here because the truth threatens the comfort they've organized their life around. But if this made you uncomfortable, if you felt defensive, if you wanted to argue instead of reflect, that reaction is the signal. It means something real was touched. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Time doesn't care about your intentions. And the future doesn't negotiate. It arrives based on what you repeatedly did, not what you hoped would happen. This isn't harsh. It's accurate.